The Psychology Wellness Center, located in Hollywood, Florida, is a group mental health practice convenient to I-95 and State Road 7. They see clients from Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. Dr. Laura is a seasoned psychologist, and she is the clinic director. Her staff consists of psychologists, social workers, and licensed mental health counselors. The Psychology Wellness Center offers individual and family therapy, as well as finite-specific area-focused group workshops. They provide such services as biofeedback, relaxation, and psychological evaluations in a relaxing and comfortable environment. Workshops are now forming in overall wellness, managing moods, reducing anxiety, positive self-esteem, communication, social skills, and motivation beginning in October. Contact Dr. Laura Cohen's office today at 954-893-7110 or go to their website at thepsychologywellnesscenter.com.
And we're back. If you're tuning in for the first time, this is the Ask the Expert show where we bring you the top experts in South Florida, not just in Palm Beach, not just in Broward, but throughout South Florida. We do all the legwork for you.
We do. My legs are tired.
You don't have to Google. And if you want to watch the show right now live, go to www.wwnnradio.com. Click on the left-hand side of the page where it says WWNN TV. Click there and you can watch our show live right now. We have, last month when we did your show, we had so many emails, people going, thank you for bringing that type of show on. So I didn't even have any idea that so many people would be interested in a psychology show. So that was pretty cool. So we're going to do this every month, and we got Dr. Laura Cohn, not the Dr. Laura you thought, is with us again, and you have brought someone into studio with you with some incredible credentials. You are amazing.
Thank you. So we also have Dr. Priscilla Murata. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're nationally recognized as a cognitive behavioral psychologist.
That's correct.
So tell people what exactly that entails.
Cognitive behavioral psychology is a particular theory that makes a big difference. If you think of your mind as a computer, that what happens is, just like a computer, sometimes you have some messages from growing up or maladaptive messages from other people. We call those the viruses. So part of what you do, and what Dr. Cohn talked about in the last show in psychotherapy, is that nowadays what we really do is we download the viruses, and then we need to learn new skills. When you go to therapy, you can't just vent. I always say, if you want to vent, go have a drink and talk to the bartender. You know, what you want to do.
Love that.
What you want to do is you're going to be with a professional psychologist. Well, you want to learn new skills. So a good way of looking at it is, if you're going to see a psychologist, you're going to download the toxic viruses, and you're going to upload some new templates.
Well, the interesting thing is, I mean, you do behavioral therapy, and my daughter actually has been going for behavioral therapy since she's like 18 months old, because children with autism go for behavioral therapy.
That's correct. And what's wonderful, particularly is what you're aware of the spectrum of autism, and Dr. Cohn might want to comment on this too, is it's truly so individual.
It is.
And autistic children are very, very responsive. And I think Dr. Cohn might want to comment on that.
Well, I want to ask you first, because we have a lot of new listeners today. Just tell people about your background and about your clinic.
Okay. Well, I have our newly remodeled center, the Psychology Wellness Center, and I tried to create a Zen-like atmosphere with waterfalls and aromatherapy and
it's cool coming to your
Where is
office.
it located, Dr. Laura?
It's located in Hollywood, Florida. It's close to the Fort Lauderdale Airport, convenient to 95 and 441.
I even found it, so you know it's convenient. And how long has your practice been in business for?
Well, I've been practicing for about 18 years. I opened up my new center last year, but I've been in the Hollywood area for about 15 years.
And you want to talk about mental health parity, so explain to everybody what that is.
Yes. I think it's so important that we get the message out there that mental health is equally important as medical health.
Oh, absolutely, I agree. I think it's sometimes more important.
Right, of course. And the idea that, it really started from the insurance companies not paying as much value to mental health. But overall,
Has that changed now, though, a lot?
Somewhat. There's supposed to be some laws passed on that, but you still have separate benefits for your mental health and things like that. But it's changed in that it's less of a stigma these days, but it should definitely have more attention in society, because I think that, mental health is behind a lot of our problems in
And
society.
illnesses as well.
Yes, and then there's the mind-body theory
Yeah.
that, psychology is important to maintain your mental health for your medical health as well.
Right, and you said about being a stigma, which you're absolutely right about, because a lot of people don't want to go for help even though they need it, because it's, they're embarrassed that they
Right.
actually have a
Right.
problem.
To sort of add to Dr. Cohn's comments, I think the term I like to talk about is mindercise. We have gyms and we always think about physical exercise, but mindercise is just as important. As a matter of fact, 83% of visits to primary care physicians are by the worried well. So it's a very important point.
I am seeing, I don't know if it's because of all the bad news we hear on TV. I mean, it seems every day there's
Right.
people being killed or trying to kill people. They're jumping
Right.
over the fences at the Y. I think because of the economy.
Oh, I
again,
definitely think that's a factor
what's
right
going
now.
on, I think that mental health is more important than ever before.
Absolutely.
And needs to be treated and not looked at it as like it's a taboo or something.
Absolutely.
It is, like you said, just as important as any health issue.
Absolutely. It affects the crime in society. Our economy causes mental health issues. Mental health relationships, all of it.
I mean,
All
we were
of it.
talking, there was a problem with gun control
Right.
at one point, but it's not about gun control. There was
It's about the
incident-
people behind it.
Exactly. And they were saying that these children had not gone or they went for mental health evaluations and, didn't continue on. So it's really important. I mean, serious things happen if you don't address areas of mental health.
And the wonderful thing today is that we do try to address more prevention. In medical health, like exercise and nutrition and all the kinds of things like that. And we need to be addressing more of that in mental health as well. Stress management, it's just becoming more and upcoming now, but I think the focus really needs to be there. Stress management and exercise is good for mental health as well. Coping skills that we need to learn to cope with life going on, life's tragedies.
And I'm going to be a little controversial now.
Oh, I love it.
One of the things that's frustrating, and you spoke so eloquently about the stigma. Here you have insurance covers psychological services. Insurance covers psychological services. We're well trained. But what does everybody want to go see? A life coach. So help me understand why people don't understand, okay, I'm going to go to a life coach who's taken 20 hours of certification, and I'm going to set goals with my life coach when you have outstanding psychologists available to you in your insurance. It makes no sense.
I just asked Rene and I said, what is a life
What?
coach?
I know. What is a
this?
life
What
coach?
kind of
This is-
training do they have?
Right.
And that's scary because you
very
see
scary.
so many people promoting themselves now as a life coach. It's
Right,
like,
right.
how much experience? I think I'd rather
Right.
see a psychologist than a life coach. And they're,
Right.
I'm talking about big advertising behind them. What is a life coach?
And you can find anybody who thinks that they can give advice.
I could be a life coach.
Yeah, I mean, the. All right, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, life coach. Sometimes, I actually, on my business card, we can do life coaching because to the degree that life coaching is developing new skills. But you need to also, if you're going to be learning new skills, learn from somebody that's well trained in those skills.
Oh, I agree.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think the problem is that you're dealing with an unlicensed, uncredentialed, and just as you said, anybody can hang out their shingle. So I just think the public needs to be aware. I am sure there's talented life coaches, but I think there's a lot more talented psychologists.
And I tend
I
to
have
agree
to
with
ask
you.
a question that's kind of a way. Do you see more in your practice today that anxiety and depression is larger than ever before? Or is that just something I'm hearing more about it and
And now
never
what they're doing is
realized?
dispensing medication. That's the new, instead of telling somebody to go see somebody and discuss what the problems are, they're just giving medications out.
Right. Well, yes, there's definitely complaints about the 15-minute med doctor. Medication has its place, but you definitely need to spend time with people and share education, psychoeducation.
Right, and I
we
understand
have-
if there's an imbalance of, like bipolar or something like that. But what I'm
right.
saying now is everybody you talk to is on some sort of antidepressant.
Right, and there's natural cures too, exercise and nutrition and
Talking
and
about your
support
problems,
systems.
yes.
Support systems, yes.
Tell everybody, tell everybody the name of your center. We're going to get you both to give the names of your center
Yeah,
first.
the Psychology Wellness Center, and we're actually teaching those kinds of skills these days. We have groups in anger management and stress management and wellness, overall wellness of mental health.
Give everybody your web address.
It's www.thepsychologywellnesscenter.com.
Perfect.
And let's give the name of your center also.
Okay, this is Dr. Marauder, and our center is the Center of Psychological Effectiveness. I want you to all go to the Wellness Center for your groups because that's where we send our patients as well.
wow.
Well,
Tell
we're mutually, and we are solutions, not talk, and that's our website.
Love that.
And give everybody your phone number.
The phone number is 954-583-8831.
Okay.
Okay.
And now, tell us about prevention in mental health.
Okay. Well, prevention is building resilience. In other words, problems in life always go on. There's always going to be tragedy, unfortunately, as well as joys. There's always going to be loss. But do we have the resilience to cope with it, the ability to bounce back quicker? And so building resilience and building coping skills to deal with life's tragedies is mental health prevention.
That's wonderful. We're going to go to our break right now. And we come back. We have much more with Psychology Talk today. We have two of the finest psychologists in South Florida with us today on the show. And God, I've just got so many questions for you both today. And yeah, we've got your book. You've actually written two books.
Yes, I have.
So
And
we'll discuss that after the
We're going to
break.
talk about it when we get back from break. We'll
Perfect.
be right back.
See you then.
The Psychology Wellness Center, located in Hollywood, Florida, is a group mental health practice convenient to I-95 and State Road 7. They see clients from Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. Dr. Laura is a seasoned psychologist, and she is the clinic director. Her staff consists of psychologists, social workers, and licensed mental health counselors. The Psychology Wellness Center offers individual and family therapy, as well as finite-specific area-focused group workshops. They provide such services as biofeedback, relaxation, and psychological evaluations in a relaxing and comfortable environment. Workshops are now forming in overall wellness, managing moods, reducing anxiety, positive self-esteem, communication, social skills, and motivation beginning in October. Contact Dr. Laura Cohen's office today at 954-893-7110 or go to their website at thepsychologywellnesscenter.com.
Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you agitated easily? How would you like to have the tools to live a life you love? The Center of Psychological Effectiveness has provided affordable therapy for 25 years. Located in Plantation, the center offers free insurance verification services. Visit our website at solutionsnottalk.com and call the center at 954-583-8831.
And we're back. This could be a 3-hour show
It
easily.
could be.
Easily. Dr. Laura, what are some of the things people can do to prevent stress? I know there's got to be
Keeping wake and sleep times consistent.
Really?
Eating right, taking vitamin supplements when necessary, having support systems, taking time for yourself,
I'm jotting these all down.
making lists, keeping a journal.
You have a YouTube video, don't you?
I
on
do.
stress?
I have 2 YouTube videos. One on, they're both on the Florida Psychological Association channel, and association is spelled ASSN. One on worry and anxiety, and one on 10 easy tips to reduce stress. And you
love
can
it. That's
definitely
great.
get more information from my videos.
And what is resilience, and how does that work?
Resilience, like we were discussing before, is the ability to bounce back after a tragedy or a stressful event in one's life.
Okay.
Being like strong, mentally tough, or even taking some value from the experience you've had, even if it's taking you down another road, finding a message in it or a value to be able to move on from it.
Gotcha. Okay. And we want to talk about your book.
Which we have right up here. It's called Power Up. So tell everybody about your book.
Well, Power Up, actually, Sheryl Sandberg's Lean In. I decided with my co-authors to do the second book because the whole concept of Sheryl Sandberg's Lean In was why weren't women leaning in, okay? And the real bottom line is because they're not comfortable with power. I mean, think about it. And everybody in our audience, when did somebody tell you you want to be the most powerful woman you can be? There's usually a B word. Connected to that.
Absolutely, I agree.
Right. So that's why we talk about positive power. Power has to be something that we're comfortable with. I think that people get power and control very mixed up.
Are women afraid of power?
Absolutely. I think that one of the things that happens, and even though I think men and women have different talents, but there are gender differences, not better or less than, but they are gender differences. But we're actually, women are hardwired. Think about it. For the survival of the species, women had to be other-directed, so they'd suckle the baby off their breasts for survival of the species. So they tend to be too other-focused. And so what we talk about is there's these power-robbing messages. Power robbers are the subtle socialization, the messages and the expectations we get from others. For example, the first one, we list 10 in the book. The first one is to be accommodating and pleasing. Okay? Got to be a nice girl. There's a problem with that.
Yes.
Okay? Positive power, I think, is that you have to, in the power lesson, because what we do in the book is we articulate the top 10 power robbers. And you don't eliminate the power robbers, you manage them.
Okay.
But then on the other hand, you have the power lessons. And those are new skills that you need to develop. And even when you were talking about stress, you have to set limits. One of the ways you manage stress in your life is you limit the toxic people.
Aha,
Yes.
that's absolutely.
But people have problems doing that, but they need to.
Right. And women have more problems, okay? Because, and that's why I like to use the term positive power, to help have them have more openness. Positive power is strategic initiatives coupled with compassion. Think about it. How you can't run a boat without an engine.
Right.
How do you navigate your life? How do you reach your goals unless you have power? You can't.
You're absolutely right.
And so women, it's essential to their well-being. One of the other terms I like to talk about is healthy selfish. Okay? When you take care of yourself, and that's another stress management.
Yes.
And
I always tell my clients, take care of yourself first.
yeah, that's right. Because just like, think of it when you're in the airplane. They tell you to put your oxygen mask on first.
Right.
And then,
That's a good analogy.
That's
Yes.
my favorite one, yes.
okay. So, we need to learn healthy selfish behaviors. And we need to plan our lives. I mean, you can't navigate the world without a plan. I like to talk about that PSP is better than ESP. We don't need extra sensory perception. We need psychological, strategic planning.
And you have very impressive credentials. Tell everybody about your
She
credentials.
wrote for the Miami Herald.
Oh, yeah. I used to have my own column. I've obviously been on quite a few radio and TV. I think the best credential I have is the fact that I was really honored to be 25 years servicing all of, the South Florida area. The Center of Psychological Effectiveness, and if the actual letters spell COPE, it's an honor to be invited into people's life as a catalyst. At this stage of my career, I actually, you don't even want to you don't even put the awards and frame them anymore. So, but the last one I received, and the one that's the most meaningful, I think, are the ones that you get from your colleagues. and the Florida Psychological Association. I've had both the What a Woman Award, and then I was very honored this year to get the Outstanding Public Service Award. So
You both have two completely different practices. Let's go tell each what you specialize in.
obviously, women's issues.
Yes.
Nothing makes me happier than to mentor women to leverage their lives. So that's what I love to do. And I also do something called eye movement desensitization reprocessing, which is a mouthful, which means EMDR, which actually facilitates. Remember, we talked about before about cognitive behavior therapy, about more of a cognitive template, helps you upload those templates.
My practice, I specialize in trauma, disaster, mental health, anxiety, and depression. I also have biofeedback, which serves as wellness. And I also do a lot of psychological testing for diagnostic reasons and for medical procedures.
What about dealing with death? Do you work with people that are trying to deal with death?
I'm actually a geriatric specialist. You know, I think the better way, you talk about dealing with death and it sounds very maudlin, okay? How about maximizing your life because there's no manual, we're living longer. What do you do in the 70s? What do you do in the 80s? Retiring. Matter of fact, the American Psychological Association doesn't talk about retirement anymore. Most people don't realize that. They talk about transitioning the life cycle. So we're living into our 80s. We're going to be vital into our 80s. Though I do have to admit, after 85, it's a challenge. So I think of it more as a developmental, but being aware of death so you maximize your life. I don't even want to comment on that.
Well, when it comes to death, we start to think more existentially. Existentially meaning that we start thinking about the issues of what's the purpose in life and what was I doing here and did I fulfill all my wishes in life? And those are the kinds of issues we end up processing at that point when it comes to loss and death.
So if you're dealing with the death of a loved one, and some people, obviously, they can't cope with that, so it's something that you deal with as well.
Yes, and then existential therapy is usually essential, existential humanistic therapy.
I got a question. How do people get mixed up with control and power?
I think when power, and particularly positive power, is power within. When you're controlling, you're trying to control somebody else. That's when you think of bullies, you think of domination, and that's a misuse of power. And I think that people don't really separate. You have to separate the concepts because you don't want to control, you don't want to bully, you don't want to dominate, but you have to have power within, and you have to establish goals in life. If you don't establish goals in life, the well-planned life is the well-lived life.
Right. Okay, so we're going to be running out of time. Where can they purchase your book, Power Up?
The whole world goes to Amazon.com.
It's on Amazon. Perfect.
And also,
And it's an excellent book.
I want to get this in. Do you also treat children too?
Yes, I
And you
do.
do testings for children as well?
I do testing, and I treat children 8 and up.
Okay. Give everybody your website and your address and phone number, both of you, because we're coming to the end of the show.
Okay, well, you can call my office at 954-893-7110 for information about psychoeducational groups, or go to the psychologywellnesscenter.com.
And the Center of Psychological Effectiveness is located in Plantation, and that's solutions, not talk, at 954-583-8831. And thank you for your lovely questions and the energy.
We would love
you know
to have
what?
you here.
Here's something that's so important that we try to get across to everybody. The reason why we have asked the experts here is we never know when there's going to be a problem happening, especially in your business.
Right.
I mean, we only know what happens right now. An hour from now, it could change. This show is to keep you from having to go Google somebody or go to a
Right.
life coach with no experience at all.
Or no
have two of the-
accountability.
Exactly. We have 2 of the top psychologists. So please, if you are a family member or having problems, we have 2 of the best here. Just give your phone number again.
954-893-7110.
Thank you, Dr. Laura.
And 954-583-8831.
That was
And
Dr.
go to Amazon.com to buy the book Power Up. And that is by Dr. Marotta. And I'm taking a copy.
You could also go to my website and buy a Mental Health Matters keychain. Mental Health Matters is a term that I coined.
And you will be with us again next month. So
Yes.
We're
Thank
looking
you
forward
so
to
much
it.
today, and we will be back on Monday from 4 to 5 with more Ask the Experts. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Peace and love.
We're out.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Experts show with Steve O and Rene. Tune in every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. while some of the top local experts in their field from Broward and Palm Beach counties educate you in the areas of law, health, financial, and home improvement. You can also call our offices at 888-574-6999 to become an expert on our show.